Well, hey, Book World. I am so thrilled to see you tonight. Welcome to episode 8 of RTTV. Now, tonight we've got a really great topic that is going to be so beneficial to you as an author and as a Book World professional that I am so thrilled to share with you. But first, I've got a little bit of a question for you. In the chat box, I want you to go ahead and answer this next question. How many online writer or book world groups are you a member of? Now, I am talking about Facebook groups that are open, closed, or secret groups where you are a member that are involving writers or book world professionals, or maybe even something that's not a book world related thing. Some of us can be in different kinds of groups because we have different hobbies or different jobs or different whatever that are going to be beneficial to us in our lives. So tell me in the chat box right now how many groups you are a member of. One group. I'm seeing 4 groups. I know you're a member of my group. 8 groups. Yeah, okay. So we've got a lot of people in different places within this membership type group. And today we're going to talk about 8 ways to make the most out of being involved in these groups, whether you are brand new and you have not selected a group yet to be a part of, or you're in 27 different groups. So you are in the right place tonight if you are a member of any online community, or if you are looking for a brand new community to be a part of, you are in the right place. Or if you are a member of groups that are kind of not helping you and they're just cluttering your feed, you are in the right place if you want to make the most out of these communities. And that is what we're going to be chatting about tonight. So let's go ahead and jump in.
Welcome to RTTV, brought to you by Reading Transforms, with your host, K.M. Robinson of K.M. Robinson Photography and Reading Transforms. If you look to the right of your screen, you will note a chat box. We encourage you to ask questions and comment throughout the show. Our moderators will be watching the feed and collecting questions for our hosts to answer during the end of the broadcast. Use the red question mark tab to differentiate your questions from your comments in the feed. If you are a member of our Facebook community and our weekly newsletter, your notes will be emailed to you shortly. Make sure that you are active this week in our Facebook community for deeper insights into how to apply this into your marketing strategy and for ongoing support. Welcome to the weekly live broadcast that will revolutionize your author branding, book marketing, and social media marketing strategies.
Now, most of us are involved in these online groups. I know I've got about 3 groups that are super important in my life, but I'm a member of a whole bunch of other groups. And some of these groups I'm very active in, and some of them I am not active in. But tonight, we're going to be talking about 8 ways that you can make the most out of being in these groups and really enhance your experience with them. So let's go ahead and dive right in and talk about these 8 different ways that you can use to enhance this experience with an online community. And the first step is going to be talking about the rules. When you are a member of a group, you need to be following the rules. So whether you are brand new or you've been in this group a while, you need to check out the rules if you haven't done so already. In fact, the very first thing you should do when you jump into a group or you're added to a group is to check the rules. Now, every group is going to have their own set of rules, and these are important because it dictates what you are allowed to and not allowed to do within this group, what you are expected to do and not expected to do, what is going to help you and not help you within this group. And the best part is, if you do not like these rules or you cannot follow these rules for whatever reason, it tells you that you should or should not be in this group. So if this is a group where you love these rules are awesome, this is exactly what you're looking for, you know you're in the right place. If these are rules that you do not like or you cannot follow, it's time to get out and make a graceful exit. You don't want to be in a group that you don't want to be a part of. So when you look at these rules, make sure you're following them. I know within my author group, the very first thing I do is ask our new members to fill out a document up at the top of the page. And within this document, they are posting their names, their websites, their pen numbers, their social media contacts, their emails. And the whole thing is a way for us as members to find each other and be able to reach out when we are not talking directly within the group. So let's say I need to email somebody about something. All I have to do is go to the contact page and find their information. I don't have to message them and then wait for them to send me their email. Or maybe I want to tweet about them, but I don't follow them and I don't know their name. So I go to the contact page and I find them, and I don't have to ask them and say, hey, I don't follow you yet. Can you send me your hash or your handle? I can avoid dealing with that situation simply by going to that contact list and finding out their contact information. Now, within some of the photography groups I'm in, some of them have rules about how often you're allowed to post pictures. And this is a rule because we don't want people going in and posting 30 of their newest images and blocking the feed for everybody else. But that does not translate into how many questions you can ask or how many times you can post other things within the group. They just don't want you to clog up the feed. Now, some groups like advanced reader copy groups, so if you are reviewing books for publishers or something, they require you to do one per month or one per season or whatever. If you do not know what that is and then you do not follow those rules, you can get kicked out. So you need to know the rules because it enhances your experience, because you know what's expected of you and what is not expected of you. And you know what's tolerated and what's not tolerated. Sometimes you're going to have groups post things like, we don't allow drama. And that is because in the past they've had dramatic situations and they want to avoid them. So if you're the kind of person that is a little bit on the dramatic side and you kind of like to stir things up, maybe it's not the group for you. Knowing these rules are going to help you to interact with people in a better way because you know what's allowed, what isn't allowed, what is expected, and what isn't expected. So find the rules the very first thing you do when you get into a group, and it's going to help you decide whether or not that is a group that is going to be beneficial to you. So the second thing I want to be talking about is lurking. Now, what exactly is lurking? Lurking is being in a group but not actively posting. So you're watching what everyone else is saying and doing, but you're not taking part in it. It's kind of like being the wallflower at a party. You're there, but nobody knows you're there because you're off hiding in a corner and you're listening to conversations and watching what's happening, but you're not actively participating. Now, when I first joined my photography group, and you're going to find that I have three main groups that I'm going to be talking about within this episode. So I will be talking about my author community, my Reading Transforms community, both of which I created, and my photography community, which is something that I joined. It is run by a friend of mine. And when I first joined it, I didn't know anybody. I wasn't friends with anybody. I just happened to randomly find this group, and I lurked. So I took the time to get to know people. I really understood who was in charge and who knew what, and if I were going to post something, I knew who would answer, but I was never personable with these people. I never talked to these people. So when I finally did start posting, I was considered the new girl, even though I had been there for months. When I took the time to actively engage within conversation in this group, I was then seen as one of the leaders. I was seen as someone you could go to with questions. I was seen as someone who was knowledgeable and had the answers. Now, within my photography group, there's about 1,000 of us right now, but only 20 of us are very, very active. And most people lurk, or they just kind of forgot about the group. Now, there's a lot of people that do lurk, and every once in a while they creep out and they say something, and we think, well, gosh, how long has this person been hanging out with us? I don't know, but our numbers haven't changed, so they've been here a while. We should really get to know this person. And so we had to actually draw this person out and get to know them. The benefits of not lurking are so, so high because it gets you out in the public eye. You are seen as an industry leader. You create connections with people. You are raised up to that level of leadership. The people can go to you and ask you questions and have answers for you when they need someone to guest blog, or they need someone to interview, or they need someone to go on their radio show. You are the ones that they go to. So it opens doors for you when you are visibly present within a group. Lurking is the worst thing you can do because you're just hiding in the shadows and you're not creating those conversations, you're not creating those connections with people, and you're not getting the benefits of being in that group. Once you make friends, once you have these people, it actually opens up different doors to you. So perhaps you make a friend and they know somebody that can help you and they bring you in and connect you and you have a new business relationship, or they introduce you to your new publisher or your new agent. These are connections that are valuable to you and are helpful to you. And that actually brings me to point number 3, create community. Once you are in these groups, you need to be creating community and you need to be making friends. Even if your group is quiet, you need to be the one to reach out to people and say, hey, I'm new. I'm so excited to meet you guys. Let's talk. Let's be friends. Let's share our connections and let's help each other. If you can create a supportive environment, that is where everybody wants to be. Nobody wants to be in a place where no one's talking and no one's helping and no one's being supportive. You want to create a community. So if you get into a group and it's kind of dead, or it's kind of quiet, or it's not really helping, and people are just posting things and no one's really responding, you have the opportunity to turn it into a community. So if you can have those connections to people, that's going to help them, that's going to help you. You can connect your friends to your friends. You can help people find people that they need to help them within their brand and their business, and you have a supportive community that you can go to. Once you create this community, or once you join a supportive community, you have that support. You have those people you can turn to, and you have people that you can turn to without fear of being judged. So it is very, very important to make friends. In fact, let me tell you a little story. Recently, I needed a specific something for an image I was working on. So I was working on a book cover for somebody, and they had a very specific idea of what they wanted, and I did not have an element that I needed for it. So I went to my photography group and I said, hey, guys, I am working on this project and I need this. I am guessing that if anybody's going to be able to help me, it's you guys. Can you direct me toward this thing that I'm looking for? So what I was looking for was actually a specific thing in Photoshop that would help me to do something. So I posted in there, and a couple people had some answers for me, but one of the girls that I was friends with. Now, I'm not like super good friends with her. I wouldn't necessarily, send Christmas cards and things like that. We're not super close, but when we do talk, we have great conversations. It's wonderful. We're very supportive of each other. This one girl reached out to me and said, hey, I don't have this exact thing, but I have this other thing that could help you. And I had said, well, yeah, that's actually really good. That was my backup plan. But I would have to go out and do it myself, and it was actually going to be a little bit of a problem for me because of something else. And I had expressed that to her because we were friends, and I was just telling her what was going on. And she was so nice because we were friends, because we had this connection. She reached out to me and said, hey, I actually have this. This is something that I've done before. Do you want this? So she was going to give me a photograph that she had taken that I could then use in place of what I was looking for. And she wasn't going to get anything out of this. She wasn't going to charge me for this. She was just doing this out of the goodness of her heart because she was a lovely, lovely person and we were friends. And so she just was so kind. She gave that to me and I was able to get my stuff done. And she just did it because we were friends, because we had created this community, because we had supported each other and we were nice to each other. No strings attached. That is the benefit of community. Once you create this, once you make those friends and you have those connections, you can help each other without expecting anything. You can just be kind to each other and be beneficial to each other and bless each other in ways that normal people wouldn't be able to do because they don't have that kind of connection. So connection, creating community, creating friendships, that's so important within these groups. And you have the opportunity to do that even if the group that you are working with doesn't typically do that. You have the power to change it just by being yourself and reaching out and being nice to people. And that actually brings me to point number 4, and this one is important because we are going to talk about drama. Drama is the worst thing that you can do within a group because it brings in this overwhelming sense of negativity. Nobody wants a drama queen or a drama king, and no one wants somebody who's coming in and is constantly being negative. And we have to watch what we say, especially because this is an online community. They can't see your face, they can't see your facial expressions, they can't hear the way you're speaking. And reading words on a page can be, misread sometimes. And so if you're one of those people who's always thinking negatively, or you're bringing in critique that was not asked for, or you're not being positive and supportive, or you're expressing your opinion in a way that could be taken offensively, that's going to be a problem. So you have to watch what you're saying. Now, I'm not saying that you can't express your opinion because you absolutely should. We all have different opinions and we want our voices to be heard and we want to make our points, but you have to do that in a logical way that is not offensive. So within all of my groups, my people are able to say what they want to say. They're able to say things to people without being judged. And my people are free to say and post things without fearing bad responses. Oftentimes we disagree. We don't see things the same way. We have different viewpoints as we're coming in from things, but because we are nice to each other, because we respect each other, because we care about people, we say it in a way that is not mean, it's not offensive, and it's not going to start a fight. It might start a conversation, and we can have these conversations because we've created this community and we are safe with each other. And we can have these conversations and actually get to the point and get things handled. But if you do that from a negative standpoint, if you're not being nice, if you're just being rude about things, it's not going to end well for you. Now, when people are dramatic and when people are negative, it tends to react badly to the entire group. So a couple of years ago, we had a bit of an issue in my photography group. We had one person start drama, and then they brought in 2 or 3 people, and then it started a fight. And it was really, really bad for a while because people were not being polite to each other. And even when most of us stayed out of the drama or we ended conversations, these people would pick it back up and run with it because they wanted that drama. They thrived off of it. And eventually, it got to the point where everybody just stopped talking. We were not active in the group. We didn't talk to each other. It was a really big, bad thing. And it was sad because we had such a good, strong community and we really loved being with each other, and it made us feel good to be a part of this community. And when we didn't have that, it was really bad. And when everybody stopped talking, the dramatic people decided to leave. They straight up left the group. And thank goodness, because once they were gone, people very, very slowly started coming back and they started talking, and we reestablished our community. We took back that really good sense of connection that we had with each other, and now things are fine again. But because those people were dramatic, and because they were negative, and because they were intentionally causing problems, it affected the entire group. So when you come in here and you don't agree with someone, or you have something to say, but you don't say it in the nicest way, you really have to be careful, because you don't want to be the person that wrecks the entire group or destroys the community. You have to think things through. If you don't have anything nice to say, just don't say it. And if you have a different opinion, say it in a way that is not going to start a fight. Say your piece, but do not start drama and don't cause problems. Make sure you are watching what you're saying so that you are supportive and you do create an environment where people can speak their mind and have different opinions, but still feel safe to come and say things without being judged. That's super important for getting through this community and having a good, strong community that you can rely on and depend on and come to and say things. Now, if you are someone who is very dramatic and you're constantly saying negative things, people are probably not going to listen to your advice. So that's another thing you want to keep in mind. You want to be someone who is respectful and responsible and helpful if you want to be seen as a leader. Otherwise, they're just going to stop listening to you. And that actually brings me to my next point. So point number 5 is to communicate clearly. Like I said before, we are typing in a screen or on a screen. We are not speaking in person. They can't hear our voice. They can't see our faces. They can't read our body language. So you've got to be careful with what you say. Communicating clearly is very important. So go through your posts and pull out any flowery words, anything that could be confusing, anything that isn't necessary, any background information that they don't need to know that isn't essential to the story you're telling or the question you're asking. Pull that out. You don't need to be writing a novel for your post. You just need to post the most important parts of this. You also have to be careful that you don't get autocorrected. Autocorrect is the worst thing in existence, and it will take your normal words and turn them into words that don't exist or don't fit or don't make sense. So double check that you did not get autocorrected before you post. Recently, I had my artist text me, and she sent me a message, and autocorrect got her. And when it sent to me, it didn't make any sense. I had absolutely no idea what she was saying, and I didn't know what she needed me to do because it could have gone either way. And that one word that had changed was the word that would tell me what she needed me to do or not to do. And so I had to message her back and say, hey, autocorrect got you. I have no clue what you were trying to say. Tell me again. And she had to go through and explain it again. Now, this is important, especially when you're typing on your phone, because autocorrect does get you a lot. I know with me, autocorrect likes to take my words and put them into mixed up letters that do not form actual words. I don't know where it got that from, but it likes to do that. So you want to make sure that you are not getting words that don't make sense or words that aren't words, especially when you are posting something that requires a response. So if you post something in a group and it requires a response, or you're responding to someone and then they have to respond back to you and you need an answer from them, and all they have to say is, hey, I didn't understand what you said, and they didn't give you the answer you needed right then, that could be a problem. So just take the extra 10 seconds and double check before you hit send. This is a say as I, or do as I say thing, not a do as I do thing, because I tend not to I tend not to check my auto corrections before I post things. So just you should do that. I should do that too. I do try to be conscious of that, but it's not always something I remember to do because I tend to talk fast. I'm very Gilmore Girls in the way I talk. I have to slow myself down for things like this. And I think fast too, so I just type things out and hit send and I move on. And then I come back and realize I made some really silly mistake, or autocorrect got me, or I typed too fast and I spelled something ridiculously wrong. And it is just, not something that I should be doing. So I should take the extra couple seconds, and you should take the extra couple seconds, and just make sure that everything is clearly communicated. No flowery words, no extras, and no mixed up spelling or changed words. Just double check to make sure that everything's good. Now, number 6 is important. This is going to be talking about giving advice. Now, oftentimes we are helpful people. We see something and we want to fix it. We want to help. We want to give our advice. We want to give suggestions. And that is lovely, except most times people do not want our advice. It's just the way it goes. So if somebody's posting something, if they've not specifically asked for advice or for opinions on something, do not give them. If they post something like, hey, I had a bad day today. My party on Twitter went really badly, and they leave it at that, then they probably just want you to sympathize with them. They don't want you to go and say, hey, here's how you could have made it better. Or maybe they posted their book cover and you have noticed some issues with it and you want to kind of let them know. But they just said, hey, here's my new book cover. Check it out. They did not ask for your advice. Don't go giving them your advice and telling them what's wrong with it, what needs to be fixed, because they didn't ask for it. They just want you to support them. If you don't have anything nice to say, like the picture and move on, or just move on. But if they post that book cover and say, hey, my artist is almost done with it, do you see any last minute changes we need to make? They've just given you free reign to critically critique what they have posted. Now, remember, we're being nice, we're not being dramatic, we're not being negative about things. So if you see issues, point them out, but point them out in a nice way. So my authors know they constantly send me book covers because they know I am a professional photographer, a professional designer, and I actually design book covers. So I do that for a living. So they'll send me something that their publishers sent them, or that they hired somebody else and they will just want my eye to go over it and see what's wrong with it. And they will specifically ask me to go through these things. So if I have not been specifically asked to do something, I will not do it unless there's a specific reason for it. So every once in a while, I'll have to point something out because it's something that can be fixed beforehand. But for the most part, I do not give my opinion unless I am asked for it. And even then, I'm very, very restrained on it because, well, with that specifically, I'm a professional and I see a lot more than the average eye sees. So I keep things very, very restrained and very limited in that effect. But if people are not asking for advice on how to make their Twitter parties better, or how to do this on social media, or whatever, if they're not asking for an opinion, I don't give an opinion. Now, if I have a question, or if you have a question, you can go ahead and ask them. So let's say someone posts about their Twitter party failing, and they probably just want that sympathetic ear, but you really have something that you think could help them. It's okay for you to go on and say, hey, I'm so sorry this happened to you. Something similar happened to me, and I found a couple of ways that made it better. If you want to know what I learned, I'm happy to tell you. Just let me know that you would like some advice, or you would like to try these ideas. If they respond, yeah, I want to hear these, go ahead and tell me, then go for it. But if they don't, or if they say, thanks, that's okay, I'm going to pass, then take that as their answer. You don't want to be giving advice that they do not ask for. So you got to be really careful. And if you have questions, or if you think you have something that's helpful, or if you think something's going to benefit them, ask first. Don't just give your advice to them, okay? You do not want to be one of those people who just throws advice on people and says things without asking, getting permission first, because that's going to make you look like a know-it-all, and you don't want to look like that little kid on the Polar Express who just had an answer for everything. That's not going to end well for you. So if you have something beneficial, go ahead and ask if you can say that. If that's something that you want to put out there in public, even if they don't want advice, write a blog post about it. Works, right? You can still get your say out there. Then you can have that as a resource for people later on. So make sure you are asking if people want advice first, or only giving advice when they ask for you to critically critique something or to give you ideas or examples of it. My next thing is going to be being helpful. Being helpful within a group is super important. Now, we've all seen those posts in groups that are lonely little posts that nobody's commented on, and they're just sitting there for a couple hours or a couple days or a couple weeks, and it's sad and it's not good. And so we want to be those friendly people that bump posts up or they comment on them. And there's a lot of different ways to do this. You can just sympathize with them, or you can post a comment on it, or you could say you're following it to bump it up. Or, and this goes back to number 3 when we're talking about community. If you have friends and you know someone who's going to have an answer for them or has gone through this experience too, connect those people together. Perhaps that person missed the post. So if this person knows how to do this really well, you can say, hey, I don't have any answers for you, but this person might, and tag the person. Or you could say, oh, I'm so sorry that you're going through this. This person has gone through it too. Maybe you could talk it through together, or maybe they can share some ideas with you, and tag that person and connect them. There's a lot of different ways that you can help bump these posts up, but it's important to have interaction on these posts, because if there aren't interactions on the post, other people are going to think that the community is dead or is dying and they're not responding. And we also know how bad it feels when everybody else is being responded to and our posts are just sitting there all by themselves. So make sure that people are included, they feel like they are a part of the community, and that they are a valued member of your society. You want everybody to feel like they belong, and even if you can't help them, you can try to connect with them, or you can just let them know that, hey, you're being seen. I don't have any information for you, but I see you. I know that you're here. So take the time to bump posts up, to interact with posts, or even if it's a post that's getting a lot of attention, make sure you're involved in it too, because the more that you're involved, the more that you are seen, and the more you are elevated within the standing of that group, and that is going to help you in the long run. Now, my very last point, and this is my most important point, this is what I really wanted to talk to you about today. This is going to be the thing that is going to change the way that you are interacting within this group more than anything else, and that is give more than you take. When you are in a group, you always see these people who are giving. They are helping people. They're supporting people. They are posting things. They are talking to people. They are connecting people. They are the ones with the answers. They're the ones that everyone turns to. But you also see the people who are the takers. These are the people that show up just to get something out of the group. These are the people that show up to say, hey, my new book is coming out. I want you to support me. Retweet me, regram me, put me on Facebook, and then put a review on Goodreads for me. But then you never see these people again until their next book comes out. That's not somebody that people look to in a group to be inspired. They are not looking to these people as leaders, and they certainly don't want to help these people. I know that there are specific people in groups who show up just to ask for something or to get something. And these people, they are not going to get the responses that they want, because people don't count them as part of the group. They are there to take. They are not there to give. If all they want is you to do free work for them, the group is not going to respond well to that. Sure, a couple people might help out, and sure, people will respond to it, but are they going to be happy about it? Are they going to think, hey, this is an amazing person, let me help them in so very many ways? They're not. But if you are a person who is a giver, if you are there to support people, if you are helping people, if you are the ones giving advice and posting helpful articles, and you are the one who is going through the feed and bumping posts and connecting people with people, and you are the one who is there to support them and to make them feel good and to be there and be the shoulder to cry on when they're upset, and to help them with their social media marketing, and to go and promote their books for them, and to be kind and to show things and share things and just to be there. Those are the people that you want to help. Have you ever been in a group where somebody is just so nice to everybody, and then when they finally come forward and say, hey, I need help with something, have you noticed how people flock to them to help? When they are the people that are the ones helping everybody else, everybody comes together to help them. In most cases. Of course, there are some situations where that doesn't happen, because we know you can be super, super helpful, and then people will just take and take and take and not help you. Those are the people we're avoiding, remember? We want to go with the people who are giving, the people who are helping, the people who are there and supporting us and loving on us and raising us up within the industry. If you can be one of those people, you are going to be the first choice for bringing on and interviewing for blogs, or being on radio shows, or being asked to conferences. You are the one who is going to have their book supported by people. They are going to tweet about it. They're going to Instagram it. They're going to talk to people about it. If you make yourself valuable to them by being a giver, by being someone who is helpful, then you are going to be the first one that they think of when you need help, or when they are promoting you to somebody else, just out of the goodness of their heart. You have to be a giver. When you are doing this, if you are taking, you should be giving way more. So for every time you are asking for someone to do something or asking for help, you should do 10 times that in giving back to people. So if you have a question, make sure you're answering people's questions. If you have a book to promote, make sure you're promoting other people's books. If you have something going on that you want support for, make sure you're supporting other people first. This is not one of those situations where you're only doing things for people who are doing things for you. Just be a nice human being. The more nice you are, the more of a good human being you are, and the more you take care of people, the more they're going to come and take care of you. You have to be willing to give before you receive anything. And that is so very important within this group, because these groups look to those people. The people that are givers, they are raised up as industry leaders or as group leaders. They are given extra privileges, and they are helped more than anybody else because they are so helpful in the first place. So those are 8 things. Follow the rules, don't lurk, create community, don't cause drama, communicate clearly, don't give advice unless you are asked for advice, being helpful and getting other people's posts raised up, and then giving more than you can take. This is so essential to creating a community that is beneficial to you and beneficial to the other people involved. And so now we are going to take just a couple minutes and we are going to get some questions answered. So if you have questions, pop them into the chat box now, and let's talk about your concerns. Let's talk about what you're thinking of. Let's talk about what we haven't touched on yet that's going to affect you within your groups. Go ahead and put those questions in right now. All right, well, our moderators have sent me some questions, so let's go ahead and take a look. How many communities should we be a part of? Well, that's a good question. It really depends on you and your lifestyle. So if you can handle being a part of multiple communities, I highly recommend it. The more communities you can get in, the more contacts you're going to make, the more friends you're going to make, and the different knowledge you're going to have access to. So because I'm involved in my author community and my Reading Transforms community and my photography community and my marketing communities and my business communities, I have access to knowledge on all of these different things. And I can then speak into the lives of people who also have this access to these different types of knowledge. I can become a leader in all of these different industries and these different genres and these different types of things. And I can get information from these leaders. So the more communities you can be a part of, the better. But you have to think about your mental health. Can you handle being an active part of all of these communities? If you're not an active part of the community, or if you're just a lurker, or if you just pop in every once in a while, it's not going to be beneficial to you, and you're not going to add benefit to anybody else. So narrow it down to the most important ones. What's going to help you as a person and what's going to help you as a business? Identify those and then stick with that. I'm a member of, oh gosh, I don't even know, so very many photography communities, but I'm not super active in all of them. I have one that I'm super, super active in, and I have about 2 or 3 that I'm pretty active in, and I wouldn't go more than that. Now, I'm a member of some of them, but I don't frequent them. I should probably delete them. I don't really need them. I'm not helping anybody. They're not helping me. But I have those ones that are super beneficial to me, and those I'm very active in. Same with the writing world. Pick the people that you like being with, pick the groups that are helping you, get the knowledge that is going to be most beneficial to you, and run with those. So maybe that means one writing, one business and marketing, one for your publisher. That's 3 right there. And if those are the ones you can maintain, stick with those. But if you can add more in, that's fine too. Just decide what's best for you and your brand. Oh, that's a good one. Should we turn notifications on? I'm going to say yes. If you are an active member of this community, if you want to be gaining this information you can gain from these people, if you want the knowledge that they can share with you, and if you want to pour into their lives too, you need to have your notifications on so you know when people are posting and doing things. So you can go within the group and turn on notifications for those. And that's definitely going to help you to be more interactive and not forget about groups and know what's going on and be socially present within these groups. So definitely I would suggest turning on your notifications unless it is one of those crazy active groups. So if you have a ton of people in this group and a ton of people are posting all the time, you might go a little crazy from all the notifications. So then you would just have to be smart enough to go into this group on a daily basis or an every other day basis and check things out for yourself. Oh, that's a good one. How long until we friend other members? So once you get into these groups and you are talking to people and you're meeting new people, you're going to want to start friending some of these people, but you don't want to do it right away. So this is going to be like with any friendship. If you meet somebody in person, how long before you Facebook friend them? Do you meet somebody for 5 seconds and then, hey, we gotta be Facebook friends? That's not how we do things. Once you start to become friends and you're talking frequently, if you feel like it's a mutual friendship, you can ask them, hey, do you mind if I add you? You could send them a message, or you could wait for it to come up in conversation. So if you are having a conversation on a thread in a post in your community and you just are chit-chatting back and forth, you should be like, hey, we should be Facebook friends. Or if it's been a while, you can say, I cannot believe we're not Facebook friends yet. We should be Facebook friends, and see what they say. Follow their lead. You should not force it on anybody. So, I mean, be respectful of them. If you want to be friends with them, check with them first. Chances are they want to be friends with you too. But if not, just be group members together. That's okay too. It's the first time you've had your hair behind you. Oh, yeah, it is. Thanks for noticing that. I usually have my hair in front of me because I like my long hair, but I happen to like my dress neckline today, so it's pretty cute. Thanks for noticing. How long should we lurk before jumping in, or should we be jumping in right away? Okay, so here's the deal. When you are getting into these new groups, you are definitely checking out the rules first to make sure you can follow it, and then you are getting to know the people. Once you get to know the people, then you can go ahead and kind of start participating. So I would suggest to you that you actually take the time to get to know the community just a little bit before you jump right in. Sometimes you actually do. You want to say, hey, I'm brand new here. I'm so thrilled to be here, and then kind of get to know everybody. But it's okay if you want to lurk. So take 2-3 days and find out what this community is like. Find out how things are run, and if you like the people. If people are being nice, if people are being generous with their time and their knowledge, that's somewhere you want to be. If people are being very negative and dramatic, maybe that's somewhere you want to make a graceful exit from, and you haven't wasted their time by introducing yourself. So take maybe just a couple days, maybe a week, 2 if you're pushing it. I would say no more than a week. No more than a week you should be lurking, or you can just dive right in. Doesn't matter. I might, before you go through and just invite yourself into this group. So read the rules and then go through their posts and get to know them, then post, even if it's within a couple hours. I answered that really badly. Let me try that again. Okay, when you get into this group, follow the rules, find the rules, then go through the posts. You can introduce yourself right away, but get to know everybody first. So take 5, 10, 15 minutes and go through the feed. Identify people who are talking, identify people who are responding a lot, and make sure this is the type of community you want to be in. So go through it, make sure everything makes sense, make sure everybody's being nice, we're not having negative, dramatic people, and then if you feel comfortable with it, introduce yourself. Otherwise, give it a couple days and watch the feed as it goes by, and then introduce yourself that way. Oh, this is a good one, and this is our last one for tonight because we are out of time. What do we do if someone keeps posting advice we aren't asking for? So if you're posting things in this community and you just want support, and people are giving you advice, that's a problem. That's not something you really want. And like we talked about, it's not something you want to be doing. So if you find that people are continually giving you advice that you're not asking for, maybe just put a little disclaimer in your post, like, hey, this is my new book cover. No critique necessary. I just wanted to share. Or you could say, hey, this is my new book cover. I just wanted to share. Or, hey, my Twitter party went really well today. Just wanted to share. If you specify that you're just sharing or you just want support, then they will know not to give you advice. Now, if you want advice, specifically say, hey, I'm looking for some answers here. What do you have? So if it's something that people are continually posting when you didn't want them to post, just be a little more clear that you just wanted to share. If it's something that's a continual problem, maybe talk to the person in charge if they're being kind of vicious about it, and just see where they stand within the community. But you want to be very specific about what you want and what you don't want. Now, if people are posting things that you don't want, do not engage. You do not need to start a fight over this. So if they're giving you advice that you don't want or need, you don't have to respond to it. It's okay to ignore a comment. Not a problem. Just make sure you are making good decisions about how you are communicating with people. So make sure you're using words that very clearly say what you want, and then don't respond to baiting. So if they're trying to get a rise out of you, just ignore them. In fact, if it gets real bad, just delete your post. Try again a couple days later if you need to. So you just want to make sure that you are adding more to this group than you are taking away from it. The more you add to this group, the better off you are going to be. And because I never leave you high and dry all by yourself, I do have a bonus for you today. This bonus is actually going to be a weekly checklist for you. Now, most of you are going to be able to handle this on your own, but some of you might want a little incentive to make sure you're staying on track for being a good member of a community that you're in. And so I have created a checklist for you that you can go through on a weekly basis and make sure that you have responded to a certain number of posts, that you have posted something helpful within the community, that you've asked a question or answered a question, things like that. And you don't have to do everything every week, but this does keep you on track. So I know that we're busy people. We don't necessarily have time to remember every little thing that we have to do. But if you want to get the most out of this experience, and if you want to give the most that you can in order to get back what you can, you want to make sure that you're doing specific things like posting, like interacting, like commenting, like talking to people, like starting conversations, like introducing people to people, like meeting new people. And if you have this checklist in front of you, sometimes that just makes it a little bit easier. So you can go ahead and download that. That's going to be in our newsletter tomorrow morning for you guys. And if you are watching the rebroadcast, you can get that by joining our weekly show notes newsletter. So you can jump on to shownotes.readingtransforms.com and get yourself signed up for that and have access to all of our past episode bonuses. I am so thrilled that you guys have joined me tonight. This has been so much fun. Thank you guys for hanging out. Thank you for everybody posting in the chat room. I really appreciate all of your comments. This has been wonderful. And thank you for sending in your questions. Next week, we have a really great show. I'm super excited about it because it's actually related to this whole online community thing. We are going to be talking next week about how to create your own community for your fans and what's important to have in these communities and how to make them engaging and interactive and how to get the most benefit out of it and how to give the most benefit to your fans. This is one that you don't want to miss because most of you have street teams, or if you don't have street teams yet, you want to develop them right away because they are going to be so helpful to getting the word out about your book, about your series, about your brand, and it's going to help with your marketing. So join me next week as we talk about how to create your own closed group for your fans. It's going to be amazing. Now, before we go, I've got just a couple of things I want to remind you of, but real quick, I want to do a kisses and confetti because you know I love doing kisses and confetti. So kisses are for the things that we love, and confetti is for the people that we love this week. And so I want to real quick do a little shout out for the things that we love at RTTV. This week I want to give a huge shout out for my kisses for my technology, which is something that I always say, but specifically this week I want to give kisses to my video editing program. I have been doing book trailers and some really cool course things for you guys, and my video editing program has been so essential to that, and it's been wonderful this week. So kisses to my video editing program. And confetti goes to author Lisa Chiavari this week, who has been an exceptional friend this week and always, an exceptional author community member. So she has been super, super active in our communities and very, very helpful to me this week. And Also, she has been instrumental in planning some details on an RTTV special announcement that I can't tell you about yet, but it's going to be absolutely amazing. I'm so excited about it, and it's going to be announced very soon, and it's going to take place very soon, and I am thrilled to pieces for it, and Lissa has been so great in working out the details with me, so thank you for being my sounding board this week, Lissa. I truly appreciate you. Speaking of which, guys, Lissa has a new book coming out soon. I'm just saying you should check it out. Lissa Chiavari. That's all. So I hope you guys have had a great evening with me. It's been wonderful hanging out with you. Thank you for hanging out in the chat box with me and asking all these wonderful questions. Thank you for talking about my dress. I happen to love it too. I appreciate it. I saw all those comments. You guys are wonderful. I hope you guys have a great night. Stay inspired. Do wonderful things this week, and make sure you are in our community this week, community.readingtransforms.com, because we're going to be talking about how to make the most out of being in these writer groups, these online groups for you guys. And we're going to be talking about all week long how you can be an awesome person within these groups. I'm going to be giving you some extra tips and tricks that we did not talk about tonight. It's going to be great, and your downloadable bonus is going to be in your newsletter tomorrow. So you guys have a fantastic night. Stay inspired, and here are just a few things to remember as we go.
Hey authors, I know that marketing your book can be so confusing, especially when you don't have a big budget to work with, but I want you to know that there are ways that you can market your book without costing you a cent. I have come up with a list of 20 totally cost-free marketing ideas that you can implement into your marketing strategy and see the same great results that my own authors have seen when they implemented it into their marketing plan. You can get your very own totally free copy of how to market your book creatively and effectively even when you're flat broke if you jump on to www.readingtransforms.com. Up near the top you're going to see a spot where you can download it completely for free. It is my gift to you. I hope that you take this PDF and you use it in your marketing strategy and see incredible results, and I can't wait to see what you do with it. I'm KM Robinson of KM Robinson Photography and Reading Transforms. Stay inspired. Do you have a new book releasing soon? Do you want to create a unique experience for your fans on your book release day? Do you want to interact with your fans, celebrate your book, and be the talk of the industry? Book launch live events bring all this and more right into your grasp. Rita Award winner and New York Times bestselling author Pin Tip Dunn called it the highlight of my release day. Dying to find out if this is for you? Visit booklaunchlive.readingtransforms.com for more info and see if this is the perfect thing for your release day. Do you ever feel like you're alone in the book world? When the conferences die down and you're sitting in front of your computer alone writing your next manuscript, things can seem very isolated. But they don't have to be. Do you ever feel like social media changes are getting the better of you? Do you feel like you need support that you just don't have? You don't have to be on your own trying to solve the algorithms. Join the Reading Transforms community for a group of authors and book world professionals going through the same things as you. Connect and support one another. Hear from industry leaders on technology changes, and get the latest updates on RTTV, the weekly live broadcast that teaches you to market your books and brand yourself more efficiently and creatively. Get the community and support that you've been longing for, and surround yourself with authors just like you. We'll see you there.